to be here. I'm truly amongst friends and colleagues, and we're a passionate group of people. We have the same aim, so it's a privilege for me to be here. The story of QF32 is one of human factors, not just on the flight deck, but with the 7 teams, the 8 teams, which is the pilots, the cabin crew, air traffic control, policemen, firemen, the ground staff, the Qantas Crisis Centre in Sydney, and even the passengers. Human factors involves everyone in aviation, and it was a truly great team effort. And as Shane said, 469 people came home or went home safely because of the team effort. It's essential that everyone in aviation understands human factors. It's a broad subject that includes the human condition, factors that affect our human performance and human-machine interfaces. Human factors subjects include the physiology and psychology of the brain and the mind. And the mind is a brain in action. Mental models, fatigue, stress, distractions, mental space, free mental space, situational awareness, safety and a just culture, crew resource management, risk, decision-making, teamwork, and ultimately leadership. These are all the elements in human factors. These are the mental or soft skills that are essential for every safe flight. Because whilst the harder threats are decreasing, so engines are getting more reliable, airframes are getting better, the soft threats are increasing. Whilst the increased reliability of engines improves, all aviation professionals that are here today, we know that we're challenged more by the increased threats of disruption, change, complexity, automation, congestion, reducing costs and minimal time and reducing time. You never hear about aviation when things go well. That's because our SOPs get the job done. And the tough and competent leaders use their skills to protect their teams. It's when things go wrong that the human factors become the critical thing that separates life from potential death. And there's nothing easy about these skills. And the skills that I write about in my second book is knowledge, training, experience, teamwork, leadership, decision-making, crisis management, and risk. These are the skills in everyone that involved in aviation, from the engineer, air traffic controller, to the cabin crew member and the pilot. These are the human factors which are the elements of true resilience. They increase our successes, reduce our near misses, and help us create novel solutions when we find ourselves and our passengers facing the unexpected, low probability and potentially disastrous black swan events. The aim with human factors is to build tough, disciplined, competent, confident and courageous professionals, such that we had in all the teams on board QF32 who demonstrated how they could protect themselves and the flying public. So congratulations to and thanks to everyone at CASA who protects the safety of the industry and has produced this wonderful human factors safety kit. Everyone must commit to a lifetime of learning. The skills that got you where you are here today will not get you into the future. So I recommend this human factors kit as your path for a life of continual learning and journeying into the human condition, showing amateurs and professionals together how to maximise their potential and their performance. My tour in human factors started when I became the aide to the Governor Generals. There was Ninian Stephen and Sir Zelman Cowan. And I remember I asked them, how did you get to be where you are? You are so successful, you have succeeded and reached the pinnacle in your career. How did you do it? And they said, well, you know what? We just always prepared. We were disciplined. We always studied. We were keeping in advance and opportunities came. You know, some people say they were lucky. But there's no such thing as luck. Well, you make your own luck. The harder I work, the luckier I get. Although my wife Coral, who's here, would say, the luckier Richard works, the luckier she gets. But luck has nothing to do with it. It's preparation and a lifetime of learning. And that set me up for the rest of my career. Now, I met and have spoken to Neil Armstrong many times. And you may not be aware that the Apollo 11 landing that comes up to its 50th anniversary on the 20th of July this year, that is one of the greatest exercises in resilience and human factors. When they disconnected from the command module and started their descent, they were already 25 feet per second error into a 50-foot per second error that would cause them to abort. When they left the command module, they were half their way to an abort, but then they were high, and then they got to 1201, 1202 errors. All kinds of things are going crazy. Neil Armstrong should have been looking out at the landing site at 20,000 feet. There were so many distractions, so many failures, so many unknowns that were unexpected things. He didn't look out to 2,000 feet. All you know is that Neil just landed and all worked beautifully. What you don't realise is that all the human factors at NASA, from behind the scenes to the preparation. NASA, the lunar lander was the first digital fly-by-wire machine in the universe. No one knew how to fly it. So NASA built 4 lunar lander training vehicles to practice, and they crashed 3. High risk. But Neil said that that practice protected them when he had to disconnect the landing system, because it was meant to be an automatic landing. He disconnected it, took over, landed, and luckily, well, that experience, that deliberate practice, the pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, all produced a resilient team that was Apollo 13. Then I met Gene Kranz. And Gene Kranz represents the human factors and resilience, the other side, at the back end. Remember, Apollo 1 had a fire in 1967 where 3 astronauts lost their lives. Gene Kranz said NASA would not have got to the moon if it wasn't for Apollo 1. Apollo 1 showed the errors, the things that were missing. Gene Kranz changed the culture, the safety mentality. It made people courageous and able to stand up. That changed the culture, and that led to the Apollo 11 success, and then the Apollo 13, which was humanity's best failure. Remarkable person. Gene Kranz said you have to be tough, competent and disciplined to survive. Never let your knowledge be your weakness. Always know how to lead by example, and invert the logic, and above all, never give up. These are elements of resilience. These are elements of the human factors of success. And finally, Sully Sullenberger. He has become a friend. What you may not know is when Sully landed on the Hudson River, he prefers landing to the word ditching. When he landed on the Hudson River, he had a copy of Sidney Decker's book, Just Culture, in his left-hand nav bag. Sully was always committed to a lifetime of learning. And he said, you know, I never expected my whole career, and we're pilots here, you're only as good as your last flight. Sully said, I never thought my whole career would be summed up by 4 minutes of flying. And I never thought I'd have to do something I'd never been trained for or expected. And the NTSB in America said, Sully, that's nonsense. We've listened to the voice recorder. We know that you have been practicing for that flight every day of your career. Sully Sullenberger had the elements of resilience. He understood the human factors. Jeff Skulls was on his first sector out of training. They operated as a perfect team and did one of the most miraculous landings on the Hudson. So these are the people that have influenced me. We learn aviation has been around for 115 years, and we are successful not because of me, not because of my crew, not because of my airline. It's because we all pool our knowledge. We learn from our failures, our near misses, and we even learn from our successes. And we share the knowledge, we pass it on, because there truly aren't enough opportunities to learn from our own experience, own failures. We share the knowledge, we pass it down, we learn, These are human factors, and it leads to resilience. So I'm really proud to be here representing the whole industry, which represents many people in the Air Force who have influenced me in my career. We all share knowledge, we pass it on, whether it's from the Air Force or Neil Armstrong, and we all benefit, and we all become safer and more resilient. Medicine and aviation are at opposite ends of the safety spectrum. And the only other point I'd like to make, although there aren't many here, is this human factors kit is the elements of human performance to survive. And it's relevant in aviation, mining, all the way through to medicine. These are the elements of resilience we all need in your personal life and your corporate life. And it's a real privilege to therefore suggest and commend to you the flight or the human factors kit. This is truly your guide to your life and resilience. Thank you.